where the distinction between human labor and machine labor will be dissolved. Man and woman will no longer expend the labor, but machines will take over. There has been, therefore, a visionary conception of society, and conflict has been the essence of that universal thinking. There are many in the 19th century who tried to interpret the world in terms of conflict dimension. The Buddhist, for example, the Buddhist and the Taoist approach has been very much more talking about the flux and the process. That conflicts, in fact, are itself no center. There is no center to a conflict. Taoism talks about the fluidity of conflict, and that conflict is the very essence of human existence. And that conflicts sometimes, in fact, do not, our perceptions. How do we try to find out what the real world is out there? And Hindu metaphysics and Taoist metaphysics says, but to find out what is out there, we have to transcend our own selves, our own way of looking at reality. This is meditation. There's a whole lot of tools which they then provide to understand this. Now, in modern times, we talk also of the conflict of interests. That conflicts are interest governed. These are very easy to identify. Conflict between trade unions and the owners of a factory is a specific conflict which can be identified as interest-based. The workers want more wages. The capitalists, on the other hand, may not want to give the wages. You can define the conflict. Many such conflicts can be defined, and they are what are called interest-based conflicts. Another definition of conflicts is value-based conflicts. Value-based conflicts are indivisible. They are intangible. They are often conceptions of ourselves, who we are. It cannot be negotiated. My ethnicity is what I am born with. I cannot negotiate that. The values, the beliefs that govern my identity are indivisible. And therefore, values, belief systems, perceptions of ourselves are more difficult. And this is why value-based conflicts are so much more difficult to understand. Because our perceptions are always based, it is based on interests only. We will never be able to capture the real internal dynamics of those values which govern conflict. The third element then, which I very much like to use, is that conflicts as projects. That each individual has a perception and a project, a mission. And it is these clash of projects, if you like, which can lead to conflict. I would, if I am engaged in a discussion, would like to know what each one's life projects are. And those life projects often interact with other projects. And all the time in human interaction, most of these projects are governed peacefully. We negotiate our projects with others. Each one of you negotiate your life project with others. But sometimes the projects clash. And it is a clash which leads to the collapse of expectations. And particularly social construction theories talk about meaning that we attach to our projects. And it is the meaning that we give to our project which gives it the power and the passion. And this is why often people kill others, because power and passion is so much involved in certain types of conflict situations. But to reconstruct social meaning in conflict is very important. And to reconstruct that means a serious job of looking both at the internal and the external and the situational. There are three elements which go up in terms of trying to identify a conflict dynamic. The final point on conflict is the communication theorists, who talk of conflict as a breakdown of communications. And often you find this is true. It is the inability to communicate with each other, the inability to communicate our symbols, our life projects, or as groups, the inability to communicate with each other leads to the clash and eventually disengagement and lack of communication. And then you find the situation that in fact the two sides don't talk to each other at all, but are talking at cross purposes. And this, I think, in international alert is often what we find, whether it is in Burundi, whether it is in Sri Lanka, or in many other conflict situations, is where, in fact, there is no communication between the two entities at all. And therefore, the challenge is how do you create situations of effective communication, either between individuals or between peoples.